If you listen to the lesson on binary flags, you may remember that there are 3 things that fundamentally changed my approach to modeling. The first was sensitivities and scenarios, which are covered throughout the course. The second was binary flags that show when something occurs over a specific duration. And the third, which is the topic of this lesson and something dear to my heart, are control accounts. And to be honest, of all of the best practice concepts, this is the one that actually changed the way that I tackle problems. From a modeling standpoint, it changed my life. And you can't be a modeler without them. This lesson will introduce you to control accounts and their benefits. We won't cover the specific formula required, as this will depend on the problem we are actually tackling, so that will be covered later in the course. Accounts present a way to tackle problems and are also a way to show information in a really simple and clear manner. And models are full of numbers, and we're constantly having to record volumes of something over time, such as the money we owe to someone, or the amount of inventory I have on my balance sheet, or perhaps the volume of physical items, such as the number of pens I may or may not steal from Dan's desk. My precious. So let's use a really simple example of a $100 million loan with 4 equal annual principal repayments of $25 million to introduce the concept of an account. Of course, my inputs are separated from my calculations as learned in the introduction to best practice modeling. In the calculation section, I have control account calculations, which represents the balance of the loan over time. And there are 4 labels in the section, being the opening balance, that's the balance of the loan at the start of the period, or how much we owe the lenders. The second, drawdowns, BOP, that's any money I draw down on my loan, in this case in year 1. BOP stands for beginning of period, so I'm assuming the drawdown occurs at the start of the year. Principal repayments, that's the principal I'm paying back to the lenders. We will also assume that occurs at the end of the year. And finally, closing balance. That's the balance of the loan at the end of the year. So, to the calculations. At the beginning of year 1, I draw down $100 million. It is positive as it increases the amount of the loan I owe. It adds to my account balance. The $25 million repayment in year 1 reduces my balance, so we make this a negative. You may also notice now the labeling of minus principal repayments being a reduction in the balance, and plus drawdowns adding to the balance. Be obvious. This helps the user. Who knows? Maybe even I will understand it. I have a closing balance of 100 minus 25 equals 75 million. And my opening balance in year 2 just equals the year 1 closing balance. Why? Well, the closing balance in year 1 represented the balance at the very last second of year 1. And the opening balance in year 2 is just the balance at the very first second of year 2. Nothing's changed in that 1 second. So I drew this loan in year 1, and I repay another 25 million in year 2 to reduce my balance to 50 million. As calculations must be consistent across the row, I copy and paste the calculations across to year 3 and 4, and we see the loan pays down, as expected, to 0 at the end of year 4. I'm not quite done though. I haven't actually added an opening balance in year 1. Because I need to copy one formula across the whole row, this should be the same calculation as the rest of the row, where the opening balances always refer to the previous period's closing balance. But if I do that, I'm linking to the closing balance in the totals column.
But Hayden, isn't that a really bad practice?
Fair point, Dan, and look, some people may not like this, and best practice modeling really is subjective. But what we do here at Pivotal180 is we create a style called blank, shown as black on the screen with no value, in the closing balance line under the total column. This is telling the user not to touch the cell. It is being used for something. So look, personally, Dan, I'm okay with it. What's particularly nice about this account is that I can clearly see my opening balance, my drawdown, my principal repayments, and my closing balance. It's uber clear. And even better, I can see the total drawdowns and the total repayments equal each other. That's a great check. I want to know if I've repaid my loan. Look, accounts clearly show outputs in an easy to understand manner. But the real power will come as we build these throughout the course. Just trust me with this one thing. If you have a volume to record of anything over time, start your calculations by building a control account.
Thank you for sticking with us. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to receive more free content, please subscribe below.
Or if you'd like to take an in-person or online course, click the link below to see the full course portfolio. Thank you.